Hello, my name is Alexi. That's gonna be the last part on prophetic scriptures within Book of Daniel. It's part 9. So let's read it. Chapter 12, Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Now at that time, Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will rise, and there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. Sounds like Matthew 24. And at that time, your people, everyone who is found written in the book, will be rescued. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awaken, those to everlasting life, but the others to disgrace and everlasting contempt. That reminds me of also right after Christ been crucified, the dead Jews, the dead saints were raised again from the dead in the Gospel of Matthew. Verse 3. And those who have insight will shine like the glow of the extension of heaven, and those who lead the many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But as for you, Daniel, keep those words secret and seal up the book until the end of time. And the question is, end of time. End of time of what? Is the end of the world? Or the end of the old covenant? The end of the biblical Jews? The end of the animal sacrifice? The end of Levitical priesthood? The end of the biblical Jewish or Israel nation or Judea nation? I would argue for that. Continue. Many will roar about, and knowledge will increase. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, two others were standing, one on this bank of the stream, and the other on the bank of the stream. The one said to the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the stream, how long will be until the end of those wonders? And I heard the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the stream, as he raised his right hand and his left toward heaven, and sworn by him who lives forever, and that it would be for a time, times and a time and a time, and as soon as they finished smashing the power of the holy people, all those events will be completed. But as for me, I heard but did not understand, so I said, My Lord, what will be the outcome of those events? And he said, Go your way, Daniel, for those words will be kept secret and sealed up until the end time. And argue, and time of what? End of the old covenant. Verse 10. Many will be purged, cleansed, and refined, but the wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand. Notice also, it says, none of the wicked will understand. So, let's be honest here with scriptures. It is a hard book, however. The Holy Spirit in Gospel of John, the promise of the Holy Spirit in the Gospel of John by Jesus Christ, that the Helper will lead His elect to all the truth. Or sometimes, like for myself, I used to skip down Daniel and be like, trying to, like, you know what? this is too much. But now I do see that, let's be honest, the understanding of the book of Daniel, notice this, none of the wicked or ungodly will understand, but those who have insight will understand. And from the time that the regular sacrifice is abolished. When is the regular sacrifice was abolished? When Christ died and rose again. I would say at the cross. There's no more sacrifices. Book of Hebrews specifically clarifies it. Continue on verse 11. And the abomination of desolation. So I would argue, explaining like the new covenant in Jesus' blood at 30 AD, and abomination, desolation, or fall of Jerusalem at 30 AD is set up. There will be 1,290 days. Blessed is the one who is patient and attains to the 1,335 days. But as for you, go your way to the end. Then you will rest and rise your allotted portion at the end of the age. And whom is speaking? To the Daniel. He will be one of the many saints who will be raised up again from the dead. And interesting things that I don't know if you know, but there's no chapters, no verses in original text. Those verses are made up. So in order to find out when the prophecy was made, you just gotta look at the previous chapter. And the previous chapter, verse 1, tells us when. In the first year of Darius the Mede. That's when the prophecy was made. So, if so we have during the time of Babylonian captivity, which was from 598 BC till 538 BC, and you go backwards when it's before, let's just say 500 BC, then 499 BC, then 498 BC till 0, and Christ most likely was born between 5 to 3 BC. So later on, seems like the historians did not know when to start 0 at, so they just picked a year, or they attempted to pick the right year, but we don't know. So Darius began to reign over Babylon in 539 BC. So from 538 BC till 30 AD, so we have is 568. So we add 538 plus 30. That would be equals 568 years between the prophecy of Daniel that made and of death and resurrection of Christ, which is 1,290 days, which is a symbolic or prophetic days. So I would divide those 1,290 days by 568 years, which I would say is that 2.27 prophetic days equal 1 real year. And I would round it off, or you can round it off, doesn't matter, but it's ultimately comes up to 2.27. So you have 2.27 per 1 year. Then between 1,000 335 minus 1290 days, which is um, 45 days difference in prophetic days. Then I would multiply 45 prophetic days by 2.27, which would be equal to 102.25 years. The difference between 30 AD, when Christ died and rose again from the dead, I would add 102.5 years, which would come down to 132.5 years, 132 year. And what happened in that 132 years, 132nd year, is actually Bar Kokhba rebellion. Before I used to think that at 70 AD, that was complete destruction of Israel, including Jerusalem. But no, actually, there was a lot more going on actually during that time. And by the way, if you have time, just to do the quick review, there's a YouTube video on YouTube called "Destruction of the Temple in Jerusalem through the Bar Kokhba Rebellion." If you have time, check this one out. But just from Wikipedia, I'm gonna explain why this Bar Kokhba revolt was significant. Couple of months ago, I did not really heard about this, so if I heard it, it was kind of just, what is this all about? It's all about 70 AD, and no. So the Bar Kokhba revolt, or the Jewish expedition, as the name Romans named, was a rebellion by the Jews of the Roman province of Judea, led by Simon Bar Kokhba. We're going to talk about him later on. Fought against the Roman Empire, fought Circa 132 till 136 AD, or Common Era CE. It was the last of the three major Jewish Roman wars, also known as the Third Jewish Roman War, or the Third Jewish Revolt. Some historians also refer to it as the Second Revolt of Judea, not counting the Kittos War, which had only marginally been fought in Judea. So revolts. So it talks about first one, and in 132, the revolt led by Bar Kokhba quickly spread by central Judea across the province, cutting off the Roman garrison in Aliyah, so pretty much Jerusalem. The interesting part, like to me personally, why is it so important, or why is it significant? Because check this one out. The Bar Kokhba revolt resulted in extensive depopulation of Judean communities, more so than during the first Jewish Roman of 30 AD. According to Cassius Dio, 580,000 Jews perished. Imagine, more than 500,000 perished in the war, and many more died of hunger and disease. 50 fortresses, 985 villages were destroyed. In addition, many Judean war captives were sold as slaves. So, and why? So besides 70 AD, where, let's see, what was the damage? I wonder actually how many Jews actually died. So the loss at 70 AD, well, according to Josephus, 1.1 million non-combatives died in Jerusalem, but once again, um, however, this one is actually been what's called disputed, and actually they would say that about 100,000 died. But in Bar Kokhba rebellion, more than 500,000 died. And also, why is it Bar Kokhba rebellion is significant? Is because the Talmud, for instance, refers to Bar Kokhba as Ben Busuba, a derogatory term meaning son of deception, used to indicate that he was a false messiah. It was also common events to differentiate Christianity as a religion distinct from Judaism, although Jewish Christians regarded Jesus as the Messiah, did not support Bar Kokhba. So, huge depopulation in Israel, and we have this Bar Kokhba, who else supposedly notice what does it say about him? Where is it? So Simon ben Koseba or Kosiba was a Jewish military leader who led the Bar Kokhba rebellion against the Roman Empire in 132 CE or AD after Christ. The revolt established a 3-year-long independent Jewish state in which Bar Kokhba ruled as Nasi prince. Some of the rabbinic scholars in his time imagined him to be the long expected Messiah. Bar Kokhba fell in the fortified town of Bater. So, there's two reasons why I believe that's the dates, and the result of this, I would argue, is there is no if, for example, a modern day Jew comes and says, "I'm the Jew," I would ask him, "Okay, could you show me a genealogy from all the way from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And what tribe are you in? All the way till now. Can you do that?" No, you're not a Jew. Let's see. Ezra chapter 2, verse 59 through 63. The following were those who came up from Tel Melich, Tel Hersha, Cherbun, Adan, and Amer. Those they could not provide their fathers' houses or their descent, whether they belonged to Israel. The sons of Deliah, the son of Tabich, the sons of Nedoda, also of the sons of the priests, the sons of Habiach, the sons of Hakoz, and the sons of Barzillai, who had taken a wife from the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called by their name. Those thought their registration among those enrolled in the genealogies, but they were not found there, and so they were excluded from the priesthood as unclean. The government told them that they were not to be partakers of the most holy food until there should be a priest to consult Urim and Thummim. So notice they could not be found in genealogies, and as far as I know, there's no more genealogies left. 30 AD started, and 132 AD the Third Revolt or Bar Kokhba rebellion revolt totally destroyed it. There's nothing to come back to. Next, Ezra chapter 10, verse 9 through 17. Jews could not marry non-Jews in the Old Testament. Ezra 10, verse 9. Then all the men of Judah and Benjamin assembled at Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 9th month, on the 11th day of the month, and all the people sat in the open square before the house of God, trembling because of this matter and because of the heavy rain. And Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, "You have broken faith and married foreign women, and so increased the guilt of Israel. And now, then make confession to the Lord, the God of your fathers, and do his will. Separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the foreign wives." Then all the assembly answered with a loud voice, "It is so, we must do as you have said." But the people are many, and it was a time of heavy rain. We could not stand in the open, nor is this a task for 1 day or for 2, for we have greatly transgressed in this matter. Let our officials stand for the whole assembly. Let all our cities who have taken foreign wives come at appointed times, and with them the elders and judges of every city, until the fierce wrath of our God over this matter is turned away from us. Only Jonathan, the son of Asahel, and Jehazi, the son of Tekmach, opposed this, and Meshulam and Shabbathiah, the Levites, supported them. Then the returned exiles did so. Ezra the priest selected men, heads over houses, according to their fathers' houses, each of them designated by name. On the first day of the 10th month they sat down to examine the matter, and by the first day of the first month they had come to an end of all men who had married foreign women. So they pretty much kicked them out. They kicked out women and children. So if a modern day Jew comes and says, "I'm the Jew," okay, show me a genealogy. And imagine in each generation they could not marry non-Jews. Therefore, it concludes that there's no more Jews. This 144,000, I believe, it's been fulfilled in 70 AD, who escaped to the mountains if they were in Judea. They would flee God's wrath, which came upon Israel by sending Romans. And now, after that time, there's no more biblical Jews remain. So that's it. I hope it was helpful. Have a